earlier we talked about Lord Infamous and about Dolph passing away on his birthday.
Right.
I seen that, you and Lord Infamous were really tight.
Yeah, me and Lord Infamous like Siamese twins. I do what he do what I do. It's just, he outdid me. He died. I ain't even learned that one yet.
How'd you guys meet?
On the same me and Paul met on, you know. Me and Lord Infamous really met on some GD. Me and Paul met on some club party. Me and Lord Infamous really met on some GD. We was going to a meeting, and I had to catch the city bus from North Memphis, but that city bus went through, South Memphis before it got to Black Haven. And he got on the bus and I got on the bus and both of us G'd out. And we going to the same place, but we don't even know. We only know about our clothes and how we looking. But we don't really know until we actually get there and we meet each other and, play our part. And we met from there. And at that time, I still didn't know that he was some kin to Paul. You get what I'm saying? Because Paul didn't show up. And Black Haven, if you was a rapper and you was in that organization, you didn't have to come to functions and you didn't have to be in the middle of shit because your face and you, the person you was at that time, was seen and noticeable more. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, Paul wasn't there. Me and Lord Infamous was.
Do you have a favorite story or memory with Lord Infamous?
Oh, I got a bunch of stories with Lord Infamous. Lord Infamous supposed to have been actually getting ready for a show and going on, a couple of shows and shit. And we was at the hotel fucking off, going to the mall and shit. We ended up going through the mall and buying a lot of clothes and kicking in and shit, and knew we had to do a show. And we ended up, Paul called my phone. I didn't answer. But I didn't answer because Lord Infamous was sitting with me. Then he called Lord Infamous phone a couple of times. Then he called me back and I'm like, Lord, this Paul now. And Paul was like, Lord was like, don't answer. I'm like, nigga, I didn't answer the first time. So I answered. Paul was like, what up? You saw Lord? I'm like, he with me right now. We ended up, he said, put him on the phone. I put him on the phone. They talked. And Lord them said, like, I'm not going out of town. I'm not doing this show. I'm like, what the fuck you mean you doing this show? He's like, I'm not doing this show. I'm sick of this shit. No, don't get me wrong. It's a lot of shit that niggas do in a group or a lot of shit that goes on that really don't really matter. I feel like the only thing matters is you making your money that you're trying to make. The bullshit you go through is just gonna be shit that you got to go through. You get what I'm saying? And Lord M didn't understand that, so he was a little deeper than what I was on what they was doing or how they was acting. You get what I'm saying? And I understood that because, Paul was his folks. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard for you to feel some type, love something that your folks doing to you that you might think that's wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But out of all of it, me and Lord M went to the show. Went out of town, got out of town. I guess he was still mad. We ended up meeting these folks, these girls was at the hotel when we pulled up. And they was all right. We ended up fucking with them, and they ended up saying they can get scissors for us and, pills and shit. And Lord them ended up going over to the girl house to get the shit. The girl I was fucking with ended up bringing my shit back, but she didn't come back with Lord them and the girl. Lord them didn't show up for the show. That shit was just crazy for me. But that's one of the stories I can tell you about me and Lord M. We got a gang on me and Lord M. Me and Lord Infamous just period. We got a gang of shit.
Yeah. Okay. And what, he just went off and partied instead of doing the show?
Yeah, hell yeah. And guess what, nigga? That nigga didn't even come home with us. He ended up staying down there. That's money though, only money can make you do whatever you want to do. It ain't got nothing to do with his name, it's got something to do with the money. He said, fuck this check, and I'll wait and do what I want to do, and he was able to do that because, we getting that money.
Yeah, I hear that. You're known for doing your dance called the Gangster Walk.
Yeah,
and people still do it today.
Gangsta Walk, at that club I told you about called Studio G, that was on Beale Street. DJ Paul, Juicy J, BK, all the DJs from Memphis used to be there on the weekend. Well, not all, like every other weekend, it was certain DJs being there. And they used to DJ at 12 o'clock. Now, somebody be there from 9 to 12, and then from 12 to probably 2 or 3 in the morning, somebody else would be there. And at 12, they'll play their signature song, the song that represents that DJ to the fullest. You get what I'm saying? And all the people who's in the club that's from different different neighborhoods, different cities. From different neighborhoods, they will get in the middle of the floor at 12 o'clock. It goes into a one whole hour where niggas dancing and juking all night for a whole hour till the last person is standing on the floor. They go from teams to groups to solo dancers and all that. And me and my little crew used to always win for the win the shit, and that made it where people paid attention to everything I was doing at the clubs. They were already paying attention to me because I was wild as fuck, but at the clubs they was paying attention to me a little more with that dancing and shit, and I ended up coming up with the Gangsta Walk. The movement of it, the way we used to dance, the way you should dance off of it. But the young guys right now, they always want to try to reinvent some shit you did instead of making their own shit. So they took my shit and called it from gangster walking to bucking and juking. And I'm not mad at them because, like I said, I represent the good, the bad, the ugly of both of Memphis, Tennessee. But I am mad at them for not recognizing and putting out there that I started that shit. You get what I'm saying?
Do you remember what year this was?
95, 96, on down. I started that shit when I was young. I was 14 years old. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't 9 years old in the club. I was 14 in the club. And, you can pull it up. All you got to do is say Gangsta Walk on your internet, and that shit all in Japan and everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can know a little more for the second interview you're going to do with me. I know we're going to do another one. This is going to go sky high, rocket high. They love me.
Yeah, I think it'll do good.
They love me more than my girl.